What's good, everyone, and welcome back to another reaction video. Today we are reacting to Film Theory, Decoding the Horror of the Back Rooms. I think we're going into more depths of what created the back rooms, considering that I saw, if you've seen my 25 videos involving the whole back rooms. You'll know that it was one of the videos that happened. Apparently a test to make more space for people to put their stuff or live at, but yeah. Turned out freaking wrong. Got creatures and all that are just like there. And just like murdering anyone that appears in the back rooms. If you do even a single thing wrong. When it comes to surviving down there. But not knowing what you're dealing with, you're gonna probably end up dead. So with all this said, let's hope that we get more of an explanation for the back rooms. Because there are still stuff that even I don't understand. So if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button down below. Hit the subscribe button to support the channel, support the content provided. And hit the notification button to be notified immediately when a new video comes out. New videos are coming out almost every day. So might as well hit those buttons to be alerted when it comes out. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Leave a comment about what you want me to react to next. I'll react to it as soon as I can. It could potentially be the next video. I don't know. I won't say. I'm not picking favorites. I'm just doing what people leave in the comment section below. So yeah. The link to this video will be down in the description below. So if you want to see this video uninterrupted, be sure to do that. Give the creator some love and support and all that. Now with that said, let's get right into this video. Hopefully we can get an explanation about the horrors of the back rooms. So let's get on. What the frick was that? It's behind you, isn't it?
Where's the coffee mat?
Oh. Oh, that joke was in poor taste. That joke was very, very done in poor taste. I mean, seriously. Not cool, man. Not cool.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory, the show that reminds you that all the creepiest pastas came from the 1980s.
Hulk Hogan, he's got pasta mania in the Mall of America. I want to try to get a word with him.
Pasta mania has got all my Hulkamaniacs running wild. And I've eaten so many Hulkaroos and Hulk-U's, I kind of feel sorry.
Fun fact that
Is this true? And he needs to stop, and he had to Hulk and stop. Because that's way too many Hulkins just saying one sentence. I mean, come on! You could do way better than that. But seriously, is this a thing? I don't know, and I don't remember.
restaurant would go on to receive 3 Michelin stars. Well, I hope you carbo loaded on that pasta mania, Hulkamaniacs, cause
So it did okay. average. So. Okay, whatever. But seriously, stop with the Hulkins. That's just annoying. And this is my first time probably hearing it.
Tonight, we're no-clipping once more into the back rooms, the analog horror series right here on YouTube, produced by Kane Pixels. Last time we wandered through these jaundiced hallways, we were looking for a means of escape, a way to survive the endless maze of humming fluorescents and soggy carpets. But today, we're looking for something different. We're looking for lore! Specifically, we want answers. At this point, Kane's series is 3 months old, and in that amount of time, he's given us 10 videos full of creepy mysteries for us to chew on. What are
10 videos in 3 months? Let's see. That's about, let's see. A video every other week.
the back rooms, really? Did humanity create them? Have they just been a parallel dimension all along? And what about the dead man that we find hidden in the middle of the maze covered in a violent explosion of black? Who is this guy? What is this guy? And most importantly of all, should we be concerned about that monster roaming the halls? Probably, right? Usually a giant roaring threat is something to be concerned about. So throw on your hazmat suits, friends, and grab your tow line.
Yeah, like a monster like that won't react to something that moves, okay? Unless that sign literally means you have to stay still and just allow yourself just to stay there. And it just ignores you.
Today, we're going in deep. First, let's talk about timeline, shall we? Part of what makes the lore of the back room so hard to crack in an initial watch is that it follows the tried and true formula of series like The Walton Files, Mandela Catalog, and FNAF, where the story is just told.
It's told in a different perspective of what's happening. Like, the beginning could be like the 5th part, and the ending could be like the last part. I mean, the ending could be the 1st part, or the 2nd, or the middle, or the beginning could be like the middle, or the 7th, or something like that. It's random order, like always.
Out of order. The very first upload of the series, Backrooms Found Footage, actually comes last in the timeline currently.
Oh, shoot. Makes sense. Kind of figured.
September 23rd, 1996. So, through the power of reorganization, let's recap what we know in the order that we know it. Our story begins in 1982 with Async, a corporation conducting scientific research into magnetism and or electromagnetic field generators under government contract during the Cold War. In our first video of the series, Prototype, a video that, no joke, released as I was writing this paragraph, so forgive me if I miss anything in it, we get our first event of the series. A metallic marble is surrounded by what appears to be electromagnetic field generating tubes. Notice how the shape and general design matches diagrams for similar real-life generators. The system fires up, and just like that, the ball is gone, presumably teleported to some space within space, thereby making the ball a subspace emissary, if you will. I hate myself for that joke, but then again, you don't pass up the opportunity.
Yeah, I have to admit, that was pretty much in poor taste of jokes. Like, no joke. You might as well space that out into the corner. Yes, that pun was intended. But no, seriously, that was in poor taste. It might as well smash the idea away. Because, I don't think anyone will subscribe if that's the case. Hey, 2 and 1. Let's go. Never mind. that was poorly
opportunity to
done.
make the very rare subspace emissary joke. Anyway, by July of 1988, Async, emboldened by that initial success, has given their distortion field experiments a room-sized glow-up called Project KV-31. According to the video The Third Test, the goal of these experiments was to solve, quote, all future storage and housing needs. So it seems like the foundation of our story here is that science discovers an entire other universe of endless space, and our first thought was, hey, it's a good place to store our junk. In total, Async conducts
I mean, with all the stuff we own and how much space we take, it could work. It could work.
5 failed tests to try and open a portal to this subspace before the 6th finally proves successful. On October 17th, 1989 at 5:04 p.m. Pacific, with the generator beefed up and something redacted being introduced into something else redacted, the threshold gets cranked up and blasts out a light show that seems to almost shake the facility apart. When the smoke clears, the back rooms themselves have finally appeared on the other end. Async has achieved first contact. Unfortunately, that's not the only thing that happened. That date and time, 5:04 p.m. on October 17th, 1989, also happened to be in reality the moment a magnitude 6.9 lol hit the central coast of California, killing 63 and injuring thousands more. The timing here is clearly not meant to be a coincidence, as a secret unlisted video on Kane Pixel's channel gives us real archival news footage from the Loma Prieta quake, including a map highlighting the location of the earthquake's epicenter, the Santa Cruz Mountains. In short, we now know where our Async test facility is hidden. It's here, the epicenter of that devastating quake.
Sorry for hitting the mic. And, so you're saying that these people, in this lore case of ideals and the story of the backrooms, created an almost 7.0 earthquake? They made an earthquake that large just to get to a space where there could be infinite room? Way you go, scientists. Help the world in a way, but also kill millions while doing it. That's clearly the story of life, is it now? Huh.
And from that point forward, the world appears to be glitched. We see in the video Missing Persons that from October 1989 onward, huge numbers of ordinary people just start to go missing as they no-clip through reality, falling into this newly opened backrooms metaspace. All the while, Async is slowly exploring this new environment. On February 3rd, 1990, they have their first major discovery, a mysterious dead body coated in what appears to be some type of black mold or aged blood splatter. So far in the series, he remains as an unidentified John Doe, but my suspicion is that this is actually Nicholas Bolton, a missing person that we see at the top of the upload. Notice a few of the details here. First, he's not wearing a hazmat suit, which clearly tells us that this is not an Async employee. Instead, it's someone who no-clipped into the back rooms. Second,
I mean, that's kind of obvious. Plus, the hairdo and everything kind of gives it away. The facial structure also helps as well. Nose shape helps too. If the picture wasn't side by side, I probably wouldn't have noticed it was him. Plus, he also is wearing a hoodie that, ironically enough, is similar to his missing person picture.
and compare their physical appearances. Notice the wider nose, tall forehead, the hoodie, just like we see on Nicholas's missing poster. Around the same time, we also see that Async's government contract appears to have been canceled. In the next video autopsy report, we get quick cuts of various images on a screen. One image here is the top line of a document with the words contract termination. Things aren't looking too great for Async, and they're about to get worse. Just shy of 1 month later, the fourth member of an Async exploration crew is lured away from the rest by mysterious voices in the walls and ceiling, only to see his team glitch out of space when he tries to rejoin them.
Guys, can you hear this? Hey guys, can you hear this? Hey! Guys?
What the frick?
Now lost, he wanders the hallways, stumbling.
So somehow these back rooms are sentient. Great, that's just what we needed. A sentient literal infinite room of space, just moving around, teleporting people, and all that, moving the rooms around to the point that everything literally ends up with you dying. Great, just great. That's all we needed in the world.
Across a bizarre theater with burned remains in the middle of the floor, as well as a smaller crawl space with non-carpeted floors, forest print wallpaper, and the facade of a house with farm equipment out front. As he continues his search, we see what looks to be an exit into an async control room, considering his keycard works on the door and his sounds of relief. But it winds up empty, and his presence triggers a red alert. End of upload. About a week later, on March 5th, Async rigs cameras to motion sensors to capture the action of what's going on in the back rooms while people aren't there. We see Async crew members constructing more walls. Yeah, cause that's what the back rooms needed. More rooms. Humanity, you dumb. Later that night.
Yeah, that why would you need to do that? Unless you're trying to make it like every single spot is a place for someone to put storage in, so I mean that was their original idea, so I guess that kinda makes sense, but considering that making more walls actually kinda helped. Never mind, not going into detail, not going into that, because that leads to more assumptions and conspiracies, so whatever.
At 3 a.m., the cameras capture a bizarre dark shape that seems to be moving along the walls or the ceiling. Looks like the backrooms monster's been watching some YouTube videos. Don't explore the backrooms at 3 a.m. Asterisk scary. Asterisk you will cry. Asterisk shooketh. Which then brings us all the way back.
Yeah, I'm shooketh of all these hashtags. Stop it.
Back to the first ever upload, Kane's original found footage video. In 1996, a young cinematographer named Kane no-clips through the ground, falling into the back rooms, where he encounters some kind of monster that attacks and presumably kills him, sending his camera falling through yet another clip and back out into reality. If you go frame by frame during this moment, you can actually see Kane's whole body here being attacked by the monster as the camera falls. It's a very cool little detail that I noticed. So anyway, that's the story that we've gotten thus far, but it leaves plenty of major questions for us to speculate about. What's the nature of the back rooms? What is the monster roaming the halls? Why are there voices and farmhouses hidden inside the walls? Well, let's start with the monster. Is it human? Doesn't appear to be. You can probably also eliminate animal and bird. An insect? Nah. Maybe some kind of robot? It looks a little bit like one if you squint, but then again, I've always got animatronics on the brain, so I'm a little bit biased.
Yeah, I mean, all the FNAF books, FNAF games, one or two DLCs, all the lore that's in within it, can kind of do that to someone if you're trying to get every single piece of lore related to said subject.
I've seen some people suggest that it could be a ghost or an energy monster. No, energy monster, not monster energy. Regardless, we can eliminate both options because it has a physical form. It is able to throw objects and grab Kane. No, I think the Backrooms has already told us what this thing is. It's a mutated bacteria. Now, I know, bacteria are supposed to be really small, literally microorganisms, whereas the Backrooms monster is anything but. However, one thing that bacteria love to do is form colonial organisms, animals that are actually groups of smaller animals all Voltron together. TLDR, I think that is what we're looking at here. A colonial organism composed.
Okay, if that's the case, then that means they have to shut down and try to seal off the backrooms then. Because that means that we, as human beings and people like that, are basically like a virus, and the backrooms is the human body, and these things are the things that are trying to kill viruses and all that. So we're technically a virus within inside of a body. So again, humanity or anything that doesn't belong there are viruses, while this thing murders us just to get rid of the virus. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory.
composed of bacteria, possibly one that's been further mutated by exposure to human DNA, specifically a mutated strain of Hay bacillus. That may seem specific, but there's a definite reason for it. You see, after Async discovers the mysterious dead body, they conduct an autopsy report on it, confirming that it's been decayed at uneven rates due to having been overtaken by a mutated strain of bacteria.
It's like portions of the body stopped decaying and were sustained. I took a couple samples of some of the material here. It seems to be closer to a mutated strain of simple Hay bacillus. It should be completely benign, but really, I don't know what to make of this.
Well, don't worry, Doc, because I do. You see, Hay bacillus, also known as Bacillus subtilis, is pretty darn common, living in places like the human and cow digestive systems. It's a rod-shaped bacteria that's generally pretty harmless, and science loves these little guys. It's used a lot in experiments because it's very easy to genetically modify. This is one of the all-purpose cultures you'll find in almost any lab using bacteria for research because it's durable, it's manipulable, and it adapts in a very elastic way. And because it's so strong and resilient, it's been used to test out extreme environments like outer space, which I call out because later in the video autopsy report, we see that quick montage of images I mentioned earlier, and it includes close-ups of bacteria cultures along with rocket and space imagery, all seeming to relate to this very idea. Oh yeah, and it's also been used by the military. Between 1950 and 1970, the US Army released aerosolized bacteria believed to be harmless over populated areas of the country without telling anyone, all to study what the impact might look like if an enemy ever tried something similar. Another test was conducted on the New York subway system in 1966, utilizing our little hay bacteria.
What?
They kind of just dumped it in through the sewer grates and people dusted it off their shoulders. Here's the thing, Army, when you're on a New York subway, the big
You mean to tell me the US government dumped something on us that is supposedly harmless all over the country just to test how it would go if an enemy did it? What happens if that harmless thing actually became harmful and actually murdered a lot of people? So basically, the government doesn't care. Okay. And then in subways and all that. Feeling the love, America. Feeling the love.
biggest biological threat isn't the sketchy bacteria powder that you're dumping on us. It's the guy open mouth hacking into my face during rush hour. Anyway, all this about durability and space and genetic mutation makes me think that our monster is a walking, roaring bacteria culture surviving in the back rooms and evolving by coming into contact with the humans that keep no clipping in. And that's not just speculation either. Kane has seemed to confirm parts of this. Recently on his Ko-Fi account, which is basically like his Patreon, he dropped this picture of the monster explicitly labeled as bacteria. Something tells me you're gonna need some more than antibiotics to kill that bacterial infection. Now that is what I call biological warfare. So that's a little bit about the monster, but then what are the back rooms themselves? What exactly are they, and what's their nature telling us about the world this story is set in? Well, when talking about internet urban legends to base a video series around, the back rooms is still pretty new. The original meme dates to 2019. The lore and branching ARGs all come up later, and these videos have all gone up in the last few months. This is a brand new evolving concept, but the bigger idea that it's grounded in, that the world we know has secret hollow spaces behind the scenes that we aren't supposed to enter, that idea goes way back into ancient mythology and folklore, probably as old as the human psyche itself. The ancient Greeks believed that spirits of the dead and plenty of other things inhabited an entire underworld of caves and caverns. The 19th century French occultist Joseph Alexandre Saint-Yves Marquis de Lévendre, how's that for a name, advanced what he claimed was evidence of an inner world inside the earth itself called Agartha, that some people still think is a thing today. Even the idea of just ordinary maintenance tunnels and access shafts all over the world being connected to a more sinister purpose was part of the background mythology in Jordan Peele's horror movie Us.
That's an actually interesting subject to go into, actually. Huh. Who would have thought? Though all these legends and such would actually come together in the most convenient way possible. Huh. That's neat.
It's a very familiar looking wallpaper. But of them all, the Backrooms is probably most similar to the work of mid-20th century sci-fi horror creator Richard Matheson. He wrote the stories that inspired I Am Legend and The Incredible Shrinking Man, as well as many episodes of Star Trek and Twilight Zone, including the infamous Gremlin on the Wing episode with William Shatner. But perhaps most importantly for us today, he wrote Little Girl Lost, an episode of The Twilight Zone that was so iconic it would be parodied by The Simpsons years later in one of their Halloween episodes using really expensive for the time 3D animation.
It's like, did anyone see the movie Tron?
No. Yes. I mean, no.
In both versions of the story, a character accidentally finds themselves passing through an imperceptible rift between our dimension and another, unable to find their way out, getting lost in a vast, confusing, repetitive maze. Sound familiar? Really similar to the idea of falling into the Backrooms. In fact, the only...
I can't deny it. It does sound like it. That's... Huh. I have to look into both these things, the movie and the episode. Sounds pretty interesting. Maybe the way to exit is in those two things, huh? Probably.
The real difference between all these stories is the terminology involved. For the original Backrooms lore, they say that you've no-clipped through reality, a phrase borrowed from video games to describe when solid graphical elements pass through one another in a way that the program doesn't intend, resulting in a player character ending up in an empty space outside of the quote-unquote level box. This sometimes allows you to skip around and cheat, especially when you're talking about older games when developers were still figuring out how to make 3D work. Now, Kane Pixels' Backrooms has yet to make any explicit reference to this. We have never heard the phrase no clipping, and we have not once seen any references to video games or digital worlds. In fact, Kane's series has taken the general concept of the Backrooms and layering on a science fiction rationale to ground it in a very believable reality. And yet, the video game stuff, I think this is exactly what he's building towards. And the key is right here at 5:45 in the very first upload. Check out the rope. It's sitting there, just sitting right there. At first, I thought nothing of it. It's just garbage on the ground, whatever. But then, 1 month later, we get this at the midpoint of informational video. As the lost async employee explores the smaller crawl space with forced wallpaper, he stumbles across the facade of a farmhouse, and near it is this, an axe leaning against the wall. Again, a singular object just sitting there alone, waiting to get picked up. So we're wandering through a maze made of geometric shapes and repeating textures, stalked by a monster, and random useful objects are just sitting there out in the open on the ground, waiting to get picked up. No real context around them. It looks a lot to me like a video game, the kind of video game you might...
If that's the case, how the heck did the government make a place that's basically similar to a video game? With mixtures of interdimensional travel, blank space, puzzle-like room, and... Oh. That actually, now I'm saying out loud, does sound kind of like a video game. Huh.
No clip in or out of. To me, this whole area with the tree texture wallpaper, the facade of a house on the wall, the random old-time farm tools that just look slightly geometrically off, this looks like the exact way older 3D video games, I'm talking PlayStation 1 era, would use polygons and flat textures to try and render outdoors and nature settings within level box designs. They would paint the walls to look like trees. They would paper the sky blue with textures. They would stick a house facade onto a giant rectangle to surround the door that they want you to go into. Check out the wheelbarrows, specifically the shadows of the wheelbarrows. Notice how they don't really move or shift position as the bright flashlight beam moves? While this certainly could be just 3D animation issues, it also reflects how many early video games couldn't or didn't use dynamic shaders. Shadows, if they existed at all, tended to be fixed and painted onto textures. This saved on processing power, but also gave objects a bit of a flat look. There's even a point where our async employee leans in close to the wheelbarrows where it looks like the wallpaper pixel smears into just color lines. Again, like you'd see in a video video game with texture mapping on the fritz. So if the backrooms is indeed the space you go to when you no-clip through the ground, like we see Kane do in episode 1, then we're looking at evidence that reality itself on our side of the threshold is also a simulation. It could very well be that this whole series is just a modern take on the Matrix, a simulation that no one realizes they're in. And when Async opens the door to the backrooms, they're finding a storage area for the extra unused assets, the procedurally generated worlds, the levels that just haven't quite made the cut yet. As Kane explores the various levels in the series' first upload, we see office supplies and warehouses, but also residential style railings and exteriors of buildings that are clearly indoors. Hardwood floors, repeating filing cabinets. It's a mishmash of random assets, like when you're exploring a library of 3D assets from something like a game engine. All of reality being a simulation would also explain the voices that lure the Async employee away in the informational video. Listen to the sound. These aren't voices that are explicitly trying to lure him away. It's not sinister in any way, it's just general white noise of a busy office or a party, almost as though reality is breaking through. While he's wandering around in a simulation on a computer, an office party is going on one layer of reality up. But outside of the wall textures and random objects just sitting out in the open like a video game, there's one piece of evidence that really clinches it for me. Something that gets me to raise my eyebrow. Notice the date on this upload, February 29th, 1990. Here's the mind blow. That can't be correct. There is no such day in existence. February has 28 days, and 1990 was not a leap year.
Hey, you sussy baka.
To me, this wasn't a mistake. Kane already picked first contact to happen on a day when a major real-world earthquake occurred. The dates in this series matter. It tells me that we're existing in a reality different from our own. One where a February 29th, 1990 can exist. A simulated reality. And the backrooms is the boundary between worlds, where the separation becomes just a little bit thinner, allowing things like office voices and, who knows, maybe even a virulent bacteria into the simulation. Am I right? Will Async be able to break through the boundary? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut.
Huh. That would be an interesting thing. Alright, I have to admit that this is an interesting subject relating to the backrooms. Now, it being a simulation, I don't know. An alternate dimension sounds more plausible, but a simulation? I mean, it possibly could be. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but I'm not fully believing that it is possible. I'm not gonna like throw it out the window, or like gonna leave it on a sticky note as a reminder for a later time in the day. Because I don't believe that just random stuff just appear out of nowhere. Because if it's supposed to be infinite space, then random objects being around kind of ruins it. Now the file cabinets in the trash can, I could just say like, they're just testing space. But then again, it also sounds kind of unbelievable. If that makes sense. But I have to admit, something like this, going from a small thing into a big thing now, is pretty impressive. Though I think some answers of escape or understanding what's going on would probably be from those two things mentioned, the film and the show, I think that it could give us a possible explanation of how to escape and leave the back rooms. But then again, it's more of speculation. I mean, it could give you ideas, mind you, but yeah. But it's honestly better than nothing. Where this series will take us, I have no idea. All I can say is it's gonna take one step at a time just to get like a general idea. Nothing else to say about the matter on that. Bacteria. Huh. Makes me wonder, are we gonna find the other bodies of other people that are in the back rooms, or no? Still gonna be a potential thing in the future? Who knows? But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to hit the like button down below, hit the subscribe button to support the channel, notification button to be alerted when a new video comes out. In the comment section below, leave a link to any video you want me to react to next. I'll react to it as soon as possible. And finally, a reminder, the link to this video will be down in the description below. With all this said, I hope you all enjoy. I'll see you all next time. Bye!